Hello, class. This is Mr. Kopetsky. So as you guys know, we're still in our unit concerning westward expansion in the United States, and today we're going to be discussing the Oregon Trail. Um, so a question we're wanting to keep in mind here is kind of how this shaped the United States. Um, so for this video, it's just a follow-up, a review of what we went over in class. I'll give you a little bit of a rewind of what the Oregon Trail was, and then I'll touch back on what we went over in class today. So here we go. So the Oregon Trail, as you all know, it was a 19th century trail that stretched across the United States. It was 2,170 miles, and what it did was it connected the eastern part of the United States to the western part. So the importance here is this is the first time it's ever happened. It began at the Missouri River, which runs into the Mississippi River, and it flowed into the mountain valleys of Oregon. So this is important because this is the first major time that the United States is expanding west with the Louisiana Purchase that had occurred. Before this, there was no western United States. The Mississippi River is where it cut off, as you see here in our nice diagram. So 1803 is kind of the big number leading up before then. 1803 begins our exploration of the West because that's when we buy the Louisiana Purchase. So what happens there is Lewis and Clark are going to expand west. It's going to cause for a deeper want to expand west. So the Louisiana Purchase kind of sets off all of this. The Oregon Trail, it's going to become popular a little bit later into the 19th century. People start to see opportunity with going west, so they're going to begin to pack up and sell off what they can't take with them, and they're going to pack up their wagon and head to the west for new business opportunity, new farming opportunity, and such. So 1843 is the big number for the Louisiana Purchase. For the Oregon Trail. So what happens in 1843 is what we call the Great Migration. This is the biggest piece of what goes west on the Oregon Trail. It starts in St. Louis and it goes to Oregon. There's 1,000 people on this journey. It's the biggest one that had happened. And they begin at the arch in St. Louis, so that's kind of why the arch is monumental, because it still marks to where the beginning of the trail kind of started. So what they did was this is the biggest time that we travel west and begin to populate the lands. So what's important about the Great Migration is when they begin to spread west, now's when they're kind of granted land. So married couples with family, they're granted a little more land. Single people that are going over are granted a little less land. But there's no one there, so the government's giving out the land. So it's really interesting for the farmers to go. They're packing up on old lives. Or maybe they're not prospering as much, and they're taking on to this new life where it allows them to. So that's kind of what was their driving force. So what we'll look at is what happens along the journey. So along the journey, there's a lot of roadblocks for the people going on. Obviously, they're in wagons. They're not really protected from the outside, so weather, animals, as you see, bears. But one of the biggest things that really made them stop was disease. So the journey would take so long because the disease would happen to the people, the party of that was going across, but also to their animals. So around 4% of all the travelers died in this journey. They'd get things such as dysentery, pneumonia, just a lot of different diseases that are still around today and can be deadly, but were very, very bad in the day because the medicine wasn't that advanced. So, like I said, and when the animals would get sick, it was very crucial that they came to a stop because if their horse or whatever was drawing their carriage came down with an illness, um, it was really hard to keep going because there weren't stops to regain it, to buy animals, to buy medicine. So um, it was just a kind of a treacherous journey along um, the trail. So when there were problems, it was just really, really, really hard to continue and do what they needed to do. Um, so now that I've kind of given you a brief reflection, I want you to think about other things we've talked in class with other events that have happened with the United States going west and kind of tie back to how it's affected today. So we know the railroad system is kind of what made the Oregon Trail less popular, and I told you in class there's actually a couple interstate systems that run kind of what the journey was. So think about how this event also helped shape the United States to what it is today. Um, I'll see you guys in class tomorrow. Hope everyone has a good afternoon.